Welcome back to my channel. Do you know that Adam's rib was mistranslated in the Bible? If you read or hear English translations of the Bible, you may believe that Adam was created from dust and one of his ribs was taken out to create Eve. But did you know that in the original Hebrew, the word rib was actually mistranslated? What does the actual Hebrew text say about Adam's rib? And what is the true meaning of the Hebrew word that was translated as rib? Will this new information change the way you view creation? Let's find out. Stick around until the end of the video for some amazing revelations. Greetings, everyone. This is the channel where we explore the fascinating world of ancient biblical languages to uncover amazing insights you never knew existed. Join us as we learn what the Hebrew texts really say about the origins of humanity. You won't want to miss it, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. The story of creation has been a subject of much debate and discussion throughout history. And when it comes to the creation of Eve from Adam's rib, there are many who question how exactly this could have happened. Was it really a physical rib that was removed? To understand the full context of this passage, we need to look at the original language in which it was written, Hebrew. And that's where things get interesting. You see, the Hebrew word used in Genesis 2:22 for the part of the body from which Eve was created is not actually the word rib, but a different word altogether, zel. Now, zel simply means side or fleshy side. Interestingly enough, this is the same word used in Genesis 1:14 to describe the firmament, literally translated as the waters beneath the firmament. It was only in later translations, most notably the Septuagint and then the New Testament, that zel was rendered as rib. But why was the word tzel mistranslated as rib? And what is the significance of this mistranslation? Well, to answer that question, let's take a closer look at the history of the word rib in English. The English word rib comes from the Latin word ribus, which itself is derived from the Greek word pleura. In Greek mythology, Plea referred to the chest bone of the mythological figure Ixon, who was transformed into a star by Zeus. However, the Hebrew word sol has no connection to any of these figures or stories. So why were the translators of the Old Testament into Greek so inclined to use the word ribus instead of another word that more accurately describes the word seal? One theory is that the translators were influenced by the pagan beliefs of the time, which often associated certain parts of the body with specific deities. For example, in some cultures, the heart was seen as the seat of the soul, while in others, the liver was associated with wisdom. Perhaps the translators saw the word zel as having some special significance because of its supposed resemblance to the Latin or Greek words. This theory is supported by the fact that the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Old Testament, also renders zel as pleura, even in passages where it clearly refers to something other than a rib, such as the firmament. Another possible explanation is that the mistranslation was simply a mistake, either by the Septuagint translators or those who later translated the New Testament from Greek into Latin. After all, no one is perfect, and even the most learned scholars can make mistakes. Unfortunately, we don't have a definitive answer as to why the word rib was used instead of another word that more accurately describes zel. But whatever the reason, it has had a profound impact on our understanding of the creation story. What does the mistranslation of the word rib tell us about the creation story? Does it mean that the story is not true? Or is there another explanation? Well, first of all, it's important to remember that the mistranslation only affects the word rib. The rest of the passage, describing how God created Eve from one of Adam's sides, is still accurate. And it is worth noting that the Hebrew word zel does not refer to a specific anatomical structure like a rib. Instead, it has a more general term that can refer to any part of the body that is fleshy and soft, such as the ribs. This supports the idea that the creation story is not meant to be a scientific explanation of how life began, but rather a theological account of God's power and wisdom. Moreover, the mistranslation of the word rib does not invalidate the rest of the Bible. There are many people who claim that if we can't trust the Bible on the issue of creation, then we can't trust it on anything. But this argument is flawed. The Bible is internally consistent, and just because there may be some mistranslations or misinterpretations in one passage, doesn't mean that the rest of the book should be thrown out. In fact, there are thousands of passages in the Bible that support the idea that God created the world and that He created Adam and Eve as the first humans. However, it is important to acknowledge that the mistranslation of the word rib has had a significant impact on the way that people have interpreted the creation story. Many Christians believe that Adam and Eve were created in their current form, and that the creation story is not meant to be taken literally. Others argue that the story is an allegory or a symbol of the relationship between God and humanity. But those who believe in a more literal interpretation of the Bible have often struggled to reconcile the idea of a rib being removed from Adam's body with modern scientific understanding of human anatomy. One possible resolution to this dilemma is to interpret the passage more metaphorically. The rib, instead of being a literal bone, could be seen as a symbol of the closeness between Adam and Eve. After all, they were created from the same material and were originally one flesh before they were separated. Another possibility is that the mistranslation of the word rib has led to a misunderstanding of the creation story. Perhaps the story is not meant to be taken literally, and there is more to the passage than meets the eye. Some scholars, for example, have argued that the story is an allegory of the fall of humanity from a state of innocence to a state of knowledge. In conclusion, the mistranslation of the word rib in Genesis 2:22 has had a significant impact on the way that people interpret the creation story. While the mistranslation does raise questions about the accuracy of the Bible, it does not invalidate the rest of the book or the Christian faith. Ultimately, it is up to each individual to decide how to interpret the passage. Whether one believes in a more literal or metaphorical reading of the Bible, the story of creation remains a powerful reminder of the relationship between God and humanity. As we wrap up our exploration of the mistranslation of the word rib in Genesis 2:22, we hope that you have gained a deeper understanding of the challenges involved in translating ancient texts into modern languages. The story of Adam and Eve is a foundational narrative in Christianity, and any perceived flaws in the text can cause confusion and doubt. However, it is important to remember that mistranslations do not necessarily invalidate the entire text. The Bible is a complex and nuanced book that should be interpreted with care. We encourage you to approach the text with an open mind and to consider the historical and cultural context in which it was written. Don't forget to join us next time as we continue to uncover the hidden meanings and messages within the pages of the Bible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, we highly recommend checking out our other videos on the fascinating world of biblical languages. We regularly upload new content exploring the Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek texts to help you gain a deeper understanding of the Bible. Our videos cover a wide range of topics from the meaning of Jesus' name to the lost language of the original creation account. Whether you are a Bible scholar or just someone curious about the origins of the Christian faith, we have something for everyone. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on our latest videos. And be sure to leave a like and comment below to let us know what you think. Your feedback is very important to us and helps us create new and exciting content for you.